It's that time of year again. The Minnesota Twins 2018 season preview debuts tonight on Fox Sports North starting at 6 o'clock. Hope you'll be watching. Tom Hanneman, former Twins All-Star, Tim Laudner with you here on Facebook Live, answering your questions and answering anything that's on your mind. Again, just send your questions to the comments section on Facebook or elsewhere, and we'll try to get to as many as possible. Always great excitement at this time of year, heading into the end of spring training and the beginning of Major League Baseball season, but even more, I think, right now, given some of the additions that this team has added.
Yeah, we're talking about a ball club, Tom, that last year improved their record by some 26 games over the previous season we tried last year. Not to talk too much about 2016. It was that type of a year, somewhat dismal. And then to turn around and win 85 ball games last year, certainly this ball club has done a lot to improve, to make themselves better. They got into the postseason last year, albeit it was a one and done against the New York Yankees as the wild card team. So how do you get yourself to the point where you can compete for a division championship to make sure that you can go deeper into the playoffs? That's the job of Derek Falvey and Thad Levine, to try to improve the ball club, and they've done that. They've made some improvements this offseason. Again,
we're taking your questions, put them in the comment section, and let's start right away. Aaron M. from Minnetonka has the question, Tim, what was the best offseason pickup for the Twins? That's a tough one.
Very tough one, and the best offseason acquisition is probably going to be determined somewhere around the 1st of October, because you have to see how these things are going to play out and how these guys are going to perform in a Twins uniform. When you think about getting in a trade Jake Odorizzi from the Tampa Bay Rays, when you think about signing free agents Addison Reed and Zach Duke, and most recently with maybe dotting the I and crossing the T on a deal to sign a guy like Lance Lynn from the St. Louis Cardinals, these all follow, from a pitching standpoint, the old baseball adage that says, once you think you have enough pitching, go find yourself some more. And that's exactly what Derek Falvey and Thad Levine have done, is they've improved or tried to improve the pitching staff, the starting rotation, and also the bullpen. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't know who the most important offseason acquisition is, but we're going to find out.
Some great questions filtering in already from Twins fans. Pretty excited about the year ahead. Zach B. from Edina wants to know, Tim, which of the Twins' young players do you expect to take a big step forward this year?
Well, we saw Byron Buxton do that last year. He took a big step. This is a young man that defensively, there were no equals. When he played center field for the Twins, he went and got everything. And he knows where to throw the ball once he does go after it and get it. He made some spectacular plays out there, and hence the American League made him their Gold Glove Award winner as a center fielder for the Minnesota Twins for the American League. The guy that needs to make the biggest step forward in 2018 has to be Miguel Sano. He is so important to this ball club, and he had a pretty good start to his 2017 season. He went down to Miami, was involved in the home run derby, and there's so much talk about how that home run derby is so detrimental to players, especially young players, and it's certainly panned out that way for Miguel Sano. He had a dismal second half of the season, did not play, hurt, had off-season surgery to fix his leg, but he's the guy that needs to come back and figure out how to play, if he's going to be allowed to play a full 162-game schedule.
Often overlooked, too, I'd add Jose Barrios, who went from 3 to 14 wins last season, a significant step for a guy that may have the best stuff of any pitcher in the starting rotation.
He's got great stuff, and we talked about so many times how you and I were sitting right here when he made his 2017 debut on Mother's Day last year, and he took the ball, and he was off and running. This young man can pitch the baseball. A good fastball, really above average breaking pitch, pretty good changeup, which he needs to continue to get better so that he can change speeds. But he's got all the pitches that he needs to compete at this level. He just needs to understand how to continue to compete with what it is that he has. We saw him pitch a couple of games last year, I think one against Detroit and one against Texas, where it was predominantly curveballs at the start of the game. He's the type of pitcher that doesn't have to pay that close of attention. He can look it over, but the opposition scouting report is going to be what it's going to be. And they're going to be paying more attention to the scouting report for Jose Barrios because he has the ability to go out there and shut a team down offensively. He's that good.
Kathy R. from Grand Rapids wants to know, Tim, how many home runs will Logan Morrison hit this year?
Well, they penciled him in for 38 last year. That might be a bit of a stretch. However, Logan Morrison is a guy that's going to bring a presence to the Minnesota Twins lineup, a left-handed presence that they may not have seen since either Justin Morneau departed or even Jim Thome departed. When you have a left-handed presence in your lineup, when I say presence, I mean a guy that you know that if you make a mistake, it's going to go 400, 450 feet, and it's going to leave the ballpark. And if you've made any mistakes prior to that and given up walks or base hits, those are crooked numbers that you're giving up. So Logan Morrison remains to be seen how many home runs he's going to hit in the Twins uniform, but he has the ability to hit the ball out of any ballpark, Tropicana Field or Target Field. It doesn't matter. When he hits them, they go a long way. So Logan Morrison, we'll find out how happy he's going to be in the Twins uniform. The Miguel Sano might be the big recipient of having Logan Morrison in that particular lineup. Miguel Sano might be the happiest guy in that Twins lineup right now.
Logan Morrison has 6 home runs in his last 6 games played for Tampa Bay at Target Field. We don't expect him to keep that pace up, but he certainly likes this ballpark. That bodes well for the Twins. Ryan Miller wants to know, do you think the Twins will get a deal done with Brian Dozier so we don't lose him to free agency?
Well, that falls on the very capable hands of Derek Falvey and Thad Levine. They have an understanding about not only where this club needs to be in 2018, but where this club needs to be in 19 and 20 and 21 and 22 and right on down the road. It's not just about trying to put the best team that you can on the field in 2018. It's about projecting. We saw this offseason about how many guys that were eligible free agents sat on the sidelines. Most recently, Lance Lynn just signing or about to sign with the Minnesota Twins. And it was a very, very late signing year for some of these free agents. Next year appears to be a bumper crop of free agents. And you want to make sure that you do not use up all your resources as a Major League club in 2017 when this bumper crop of free agents hits the market in 2018. I know that's the getting away from Brian Dozier and what he means to this Minnesota Twins ball club. I'm sure that Derek Falvey and Thad Levine will do whatever they can to keep Brian Dozier in the Twins uniform. We're gonna have to see how that plays out as the season goes along, and it may not play out as the season goes along because Brian Dozier might say, "I'm not going to sign a deal during the course of the season."
Shirley has a question concerning Kenny Vargas. She said that Vargas has had his ups and downs since being called up, but signing Morrison pretty much seals the deal. Vargas will probably be leaving the Twins. Doesn't it make sense to have Vargas since he's younger than signing Morrison?
It's a very difficult situation for this young man, and all in all, it's probably one of those situations where Kenny Vargas has probably not had the opportunity that he should have to play on a regular basis. Now, Kenny Vargas has had opportunities, and he started the 2016 season on the Twins roster or very close right afterwards, and through his first 100 at-bats had like 6 extra base hits. And for a young man like that type of production, whether it be as a first baseman or as a DH, needs to be more than just base hits. He needs to drive the ball in the gaps. He needs to drive the ball out of the ballpark, utilizing the entire field from both sides of the plate. And has Kenny Vargas done that? Probably not to the satisfaction of his manager, Paul Molitor. And the other part of that, too, is that there have been certain times where Kenny Vargas has allowed himself to not be in peak physical form to be able to go out and perform on a regular basis. And so does this mean it's the end of Kenny Vargas in a Twins uniform? Well, maybe. Does it make sense to try to keep him? Not at this point in time. There are other guys that are going to be coming along the way. And is it a time where maybe Kenny Vargas needs a change of scenery so that he understands what it means to make the most of an opportunity to play in the big leagues? That's probably the case.
Ervin Santana, obviously the Twins' ace, but he will not be available on opening day after knuckle surgery, scheduled to miss 3, possibly 4 weeks. Matthew Clark wonders who gets the ball on opening day.
Well, I know who I'd give the ball to, but I'm not Paul Molitor. Jose Barrios would probably be the guy that you want to give the baseball to on opening day. Now, that can change, and how that can change is that the Major League manager and the Major League pitching coach will look at the schedule. They understand that they have 4 days, 4 starters to fill in the blanks with those off days. And they'll schedule out a starting rotation, and barring any weather delays, they'll have guys penciled in all the way through the end of April. That will take the Twins' schedule right through their 2 games that they play down in Puerto Rico. Now, it makes sense that at some point in time, Jose Barrios is going to be one of the Twins starters in Puerto Rico in one of those 2 games against the Cleveland Indians. And when you have a guy like Jose Barrios to be able to pitch one of those 2 games in his home country, I think we all know what that would mean to Jose Barrios, and I think we all know what that would mean to Puerto Rico and everything that they've been through since last fall.
It is possible even Jake Odorizzi could be the Twins starter on opening day. That's yet to be determined. Adam F. wants to know who will get the 5th spot in the Twins starting rotation.
Well, if the schedule lays out the fact that you can take 4 starters all the way into late April, well, then it would be really nice if Ervin Santana was healthy enough and completed everything that he needed to complete to pitch the innings that he needed to down in Florida, to get his arm in shape, make a start or 2 at AAA on a rehab assignment, and be ready to go as that 5th guy at the end of April or early May. I think that would probably be the best case scenario for the Twins, to just bring Ervin Santana back when they need that 5th starter. Now, if they need one prior to that, it could possibly be a situation where Phil Hughes is a guy that's going to be in long relief in the bullpen. If they carry 9 relievers to the 4 starters, 13 pitchers, 12 position players, again, they have options. The Twins have options. It's not like all those decisions are already made. There's decisions that have to be made, even with the fact that a lot of their position players are already established.
Still a number of questions to be answered, obviously, but Paul Molitor has some great options, some great upgrades to deal with this year. Andrew Nickerson wants to know who's going to be the unknown player to watch in the pitching department and offensively this year.
Well, I don't know that there are a whole lot of secrets, Tom. I think that we've pretty much seen exactly what the Twins have had to offer. We talk about the outfield and Rosario, Buxton, and Max Kepler across the outfield, and Joe Mauer, who should have been one of the, at the very least, one of the 3 finalists last year for the Gold Glove Award. Joe had an outstanding defensive year, making all the plays, making the other infielders look that much better. Partly responsible for Brian Dozier being a Gold Glove winner on the right side of that Twins infield. So that was a bit disappointing. But to have Brian Dozier come back, Polanco, Miguel Sano, Castro behind the plate, you're talking about a team defensively that improved so much during this 2017 season. Now if they can just fine-tune a couple of those things to make sure that they don't give extra outs to the opposition, they'll be that much better for their pitching staff. But I don't know that there's going to be any one person that's going to, or even a pitcher. What you're looking for is consistency. Byron Buxton, more consistent from the start of the year to the end of the year offensively. Keep running down those baseballs in the outfield, kid. Kyle Gibson, be consistent from the start of the season to the end of the season. Are you going to have bad games in there as a pitcher? Yes, you are. But the consistency of getting out of your way and allowing yourself to throw the baseball low over the plate with something on is going to take Kyle Gibson a long way this season.
It will all start opening day in Baltimore. And, of course, Fox Sports North, your home for Twins baseball all season long. The home opener, a week after the regular season opener, April 5th, against Seattle. A couple more questions coming in. Becky R. wants to know, who's going to win the utility role job for the Twins?
Ooh, that's a tough one. And it's very tough because there's a lot of different things in play here. Eduardo Escobar, as far as I can tell, is the guy that's going to be in a Twins uniform for as long as he wants to be and as long as they want him to be. He's probably the #1 guy. And barring any situation that might come down the road from Miguel Sano, he's probably going to be the guy that could get most of the innings in at third base at the start of the season. We'll see how that plays out. Now, from that, Ari Adrianza is a guy that can also be a utility-type player, and it's going to come down to, does Paul Molitor want some versatility defensively, or does he want some versatility offensively? Very seldom can you have both. Ari Adrianza can play in the outfield. Robbie Grossman is an outfielder. It looks like Zach Granite might not be in the picture come March 29th. But he has versatility with Robbie Grossman as the right-handed DH. Morrison's going to be the left-handed DH. Arianza can play the outfield. If they run into a situation, Robbie Grossman cannot play on the infield if they run into a situation. And so, but I look for that to be a very, very difficult race. Also, yesterday I had an opportunity to watch Eric Ibar, who is a non-rostered invitee. Chris Heisey as well, Ryan Lemaire. These are also guys that want some way, somehow to be in the picture. Just don't know if there's enough room on that 25-man roster for those guys.
How good are you as a prognosticator?
Uh-oh.
Ryan H. wants to know, do the Twins compete for a playoff spot this season like last? With the roster we have, I think we have the ability to compete with Cleveland for the division crown.
Yeah, I don't disagree with them. And again, prognosticating is not one of the things that I'm any good at. By any stretch of the imagination, I could guess and guess all day long. However, when I look at this 2018 version of the Minnesota Twins, and it's not set yet as a 25-man team. However, knowing these young men and the effort that they made and the progress that they made last year and the little bit of a taste that they got in the postseason is something that can bring you back the next year. You had a little taste of postseason. Now you want to, get sated with that taste. You want to play deeper into the postseason. And these young men understand more and more about what that is all about. So I do expect them. Do I expect them to be 17 games better? Do I expect them to win 102 games? I don't know if they can win 102 games. Maybe, maybe not. But that's what the Cleveland Indians won last year. Can Cleveland repeat with 102 wins last year? Maybe, maybe not. But we do know that between these two ball clubs, if you play well in your own division and you play well against the people in your division that you have to play well with, that'll give you a good chance to be division champions, and that's what you're shooting for. Change is in the air in the AL Central. Thanks for all your questions, Tim Laudner. Great job, as always. Look forward to a long and exciting season of Twins baseball. And a reminder, it's 6 o'clock tonight, the debut of the 2018 Minnesota Twins season preview presented by CenturyLink.